Have you ever wondered what it would be like to live completely alone? No cities, no internet, no traffic, no voices, just silence. Real silence. Not the kind you get at night in a busy town. Not the silence between phone notifications, but a silence that breathes, that lives. A silence so deep, it almost speaks back. This is the story of a man who lived in that kind of silence. For over 40 years, on a small, remote island, alone, and when the world finally found him, he didn't want to come back. His name was Thomas Elkin, born in 1943 in a small farmhouse in rural Maine. His mother was a school teacher, his father a carpenter. He had two brothers and a dog named Jasper. He wasn't a lonely child, but he was different. While other kids played baseball or rode bikes through town, Thomas would go off alone for hours. Into the forest, into the hills. He'd sit by rivers and listen. He said he liked the space between things. The world was always moving too fast for him. In college, he studied literature and philosophy. He liked the ancient thinkers. Lao Tzu, Marcus Aurelius, Thoreau, wrote poems in the margins of his textbooks, sometimes entire essays about how cities were machines built to break the soul. After graduating, he became a high school teacher. He was kind, intelligent, and well-liked. But he never quite fit in. He never married, never went to parties, spent his evenings reading by candlelight, even though he had electricity. His students said he had the eyes of someone who lived in another world. In 1974, something changed. One Monday morning, he didn't show up to school. At first, they thought he was sick, but when his friends checked his house, it was empty. Neat, clean, but empty. The fridge was unplugged. The windows locked. On his desk was a note. Just one line. I'm going where the noise can't reach me. The police searched for weeks. Helicopters. Dogs. Divers. Nothing. It was like he had vanished in a thin air. But Thomas hadn't disappeared. He had been planning his escape for years. There's a small, uninhabited island off the coast of Nova Scotia. No one lives there. Not legally. It's not even on most maps. Just a dot of green in a sea of blue. He found it mentioned once in an old sailor's journal, a place where birds nested undisturbed and no boat ever docked for long. He used his entire savings to buy a used fishing boat, and one night, he sailed north alone. He called the island Adera. It means silent sky in an old dialect of Norse. He built his shelter from driftwood and stone, collected rainwater in clay pots, grew potatoes, herbs, and berries. He fished, hunted rabbits, tanned hides to make clothing, wrote in a journal every evening by firelight. He carved dozens of wooden figurines, birds, foxes, trees, and placed them around the island. Not for worship, not for show, just so he wouldn't forget what beauty looked like. Each year on his birthday, he planted a new flower, always in a different spot. He said that way, the island would remember him, even if no one else ever did. He lived this way for over 40 years. No phone, no letters, no electricity, just the rhythms of nature, the changing tides, the call of gulls, the warmth of sun through tree leaves. Time moved differently there. Days were measured by light, not clocks. Seasons by color, not calendars. Then in 2015, two hikers kayaking along the coast noticed a thin stream of smoke. Curious, they landed. They thought the island was empty. But there he was, an old man with a long white beard and skin like driftwood. He welcomed them without surprise, offered them boiled roots and tea made from pine needles. They asked who he was. He smiled and said, I used to be someone. Now I'm just here. News spread quickly. Reporters came. Drones. Cameras. Journalists trying to make a story out of Solitude. They asked him why he left society. He answered, because society never really invited me in. They offered him interviews, book deals, fame. He refused them all. Eventually, the government stepped in. Technically, he was living on protected land. They told him he had to leave, that it was illegal, that it was dangerous, that he was too old to live alone. Before he left, he dug a hole behind a rock near the shore, buried a metal box. Inside was a single letter. It read, If you're reading this, you disturb my peace. I came here not to hide, but to listen, not to escape the world, but to remember it. You live in a place full of noise, where value is measured in likes, not love, where silence is feared and stillness mistaken for failure. But here I learned that I am enough. That life doesn't need to be loud to be meaningful. If you found this, go somewhere quiet and stay there long enough to hear yourself again. No one really knows what happened to Thomas after that. Some say he moved to a cabin deep in the mountains. Others believe he wandered into the forest and never returned. But the truth is, maybe he finally disappeared the way he always wanted to. Quietly, completely, like a leaf falling into water. And maybe, just maybe, he found something that most of us never will. Not escape, not freedom, but peace.